All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is William. We are going to be chanting the Offertory Immitet Angelus Domini for the 14th Sunday after Pentecost for the extraordinary form of the Mass. It's a beautiful one. It's kind of short, but it's beautiful. And before we start yapping too long, let's get right into it. All right, so take this opportunity, smash the subscribe, hit the bell icon, all the stuff. Don't break your screen if you're on your phone. Now, the Offertory, Immitet Angelus Domini. The angel of the Lord is around or is present in circuitu. Immitet? Like imminent, right? In circuitu, around or circumscribing those who fear him. And he will take them up. He will snatch them up. Taste and see that the Lord is suavis, sweet, suave, cool, awesome, all those things. Suavis. Anyway, it's mode 8. Anytime you hear a mode 8 offertory, it's going to be a lot like the Ave Maria and the Angelus Domini, hence the Angelus Domini. There's this kind of feeling that they all have, but they're very similar. And we're going to do this one because it's mode 8, we're going to do this one on an F, starting on an F, in the key of B flat. So that means an E flat below our F and a B flat a fourth above. So that entrance sounds like this on a piano. And mode 8 loves that whole step beneath your final. Final being sol, or in this case, F. Yeah, right? That's kind of it. Anyway, this one is really beautiful. There's not... Well, let's just listen to it. Again, like always, I'm going to be going through it, making comments and, random noises when I feel like it, and hopefully you'll learn something from this. So, and at the very end, I'll sing through the whole thing without stop, unless I make a big mistake like I did in the last video, and then I'll fix it, just so you can have something to practice with. So, all right, let's hear it. So, Immitet Angelus. Already, we have that. We talked in the last video. If you want to go see it, it'll be somewhere. Maybe I should put like a link to it. But anyway, the shoulda, coulda, woulda. The top note, we have a strophicus, right? So strophicus just means lots of notes on one line, basically, if I'm remembering right. I didn't look that up. But we have a group of 2, and you can see the 1, 2, and then a group of 3, 1, 2, 3. I read this a couple weeks ago, and because I've always kind of struggled with repercussion, the repercussions of repercussing, and I've heard some choirs go, where they paw. It's like an extra oomph in the note, and I've heard it sound really cool. I've also heard it sound really forced and not very nice. It sounds forced, right? Kind of artificial. But then I read this really cool way of saying it, adding a fresh layer of sound. And I really like that. It's almost like if you've done woodworking at all, or if you've ever kind of painted something, you put on one coat, and then you apply another coat. The color doesn't change. I mean, maybe it'll darken, or maybe it'll kind of be more of that color, but it just is more of that color, right? So we're not adding anything to the sound. The sound was good already. We'll talk about shaping it a little bit, but that's different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a cessation in the sound and repercussing words. You can barely hear that. I mean, you can, but it's not. I've heard that, and I've heard people that like insist on doing it that way. Not my way, So when you do have a strophicus like that, add in that extra sound. Now, how do we count that? Well, we count it 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now notice how I did that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 was slower than the 1, 2, 3. Because 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. You're more intense than 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. Remember, in the last video, maybe go back and tune into it. I really need to grab that link between videos. But what I talked about was atoms. So the way that atoms are bigger or smaller than each other, but atom means indivisible. I mean, modern science, they're divisible, but you get the picture. But think of them as the first two notes are bigger atoms. You can't divide them. They're indivisible. Puncti. They're 2 points that are bigger. You can't divide them, but they're bigger. And then you get 1, 2, 3, 3 puncti. They're right next to each other. They're a little smaller. So you're going to pass through them faster. And yeah, it's like you're going at the same speed, but these notes pass by quicker, right? So it's kind of size at issue. Your car's not gone any faster or slower, but the things passing you by have gone faster, smaller, or slower, bigger, right? So, and there's a whole complexity to the rhythm in chant, which would take a whole like series on its own to go through, a lot of technicalities. I kind of opt for a more organic, improvisatory feel to the chant. And also doing videos like this, so my choir knows what it should sound like on Sunday. Just copy me. Monkey see, monkey do. So that's the point of these videos, is to kind of give you some fresh ideas if you have your own choir or if you're in a choir, and also stuff to listen to, listen for, I should say, for in your own choir. Yeah, but always remember, the music director's always right. So, all right, let's keep going. Angelus. Let's hear that one more time. Angelus Domini in circuito dimensium meum. Man, my breath is short today. But those are all sneak breaths, by the way. I'm trying to sneak those breaths. It's harder when you're on your own, but you get the picture. We have that same figure again. Same thing applies. We also have on the Domini, we have 1, 2, almost 3 of the same things. And then in Circuitu, we have what feels like a sequence, and then it breaks off. I love that moment. Going down to the Fa. It's just beautiful on 2. In circuito. Now, those are really cool. That's a really cool. And then it kind of picks right back up. Dimensium meum. Same thing as last video on this one. Not eum. We add the J kind of when we're talking as a lazy kind of thing. But we want to have eum. Eum. Just like that. It keeps the choir together, and the vowels are the same then. Here we go. Let's keep going. Eteripi eteos gustate et vide. Ooh, air. Make sure you have lots of air there. There's a lot, when you go up really high and the tessitura starts to shift up in your song, you have to fight the temptation to, first of all, be tense, right? And then that's obviously an oxymoron because fighting it means tension. So you're fighting to relax. And also make sure your vowel softens and is more warm. So not eos, right? Eos. It's going to be really harsh. Sorry if you're wearing headphones. You want to soften that. And I think of it as the sound gets a syringe full of ah. Much gentler sound, and it feels a lot more capable. You could do it longer, right? And gustate. After the sta, you drop down. It's kind of one of those drop down things. I always like to picture someone else or like another level of a building. Someone just starts singing on a lower floor. So you're kind of really high up. Someone else, right? But there's no break in the sound. So the guy on the top floor, and that kind of helps me, at least in my imagination, to kind of understand where to come in and the feeling of it. Because you want it, you're going to have that sound echoing in the church if you have some echo in the church. And then this other sound layers itself underneath and kind of provides a little foundation. So you have to take it slower, obviously, so that the people who are listening, their ear catches up to what just happened. Let's hear that one more time. Gustate et vi. I did the major third. Sorry, mea culpa. Et vide. Notice how fast I got that. Now, how did I know to go fast? Well, look at all those epizeme. There's a lot of them. Look at every other part of the song. You get a little bit here. And it went faster there. So I'm kind of thinking, whenever there's more epizeme, it's probably going to go a little faster. Kind of like someone going to speed you up. Not sure if that's scientific, but that's well, it is. It's a very scientific term. Just kidding. But here you go. This formula is going to be very similar to this one. Even though the neum is much different in the way that the structure is much different, you still have 1, 2, 3. That gives me the sign as a singer that I need to go a little faster. Also, coupled with that, is the fact that it's just high and then it comes down. So you could feel it coming down. When we come down a hill, when we walk down a hill, it feels like we're walking faster. So don't just go faster, because then it feels rushed. But and don't stop there at the quarter bar, because it is just a quarter breath. Now, let's go back, and I'm going to sing it slow. So pretend like these are slow, and see if you can hear the difference. Of course you will. But see if you agree with going slower. Et vide. It's a little bit of a different interpretation. I felt that was, and probably because I do it the other way, but I felt that was actually against what the notes wanted to do. And that's where the other half of the way that I interpret chant comes in. I interpret chant very much from the standpoint of someone who's improvising. So if I was improvising and just kind of going on the keyboard randomly, but I happen to play these notes, I would feel that. I wouldn't necessarily feel... It's a little different, right? The difference in feel. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because if your choir director says to do that, then you do it, and make it musical. But I am saying that to me, it doesn't sound as organic. And I think that's the difference. Sometimes when I hear or read these books on Gregorian chant rhythm or how to perform it, I feel like they've come up with an idea that they then apply to every single piece, regardless of what it actually sounds like. And I think that's you can't even do that with like normal modern music. You can't say, no, the pulse is, and then you apply it. I was listening last night to a video of a harpsichord piece played in a very, very ancient style, and he was using arpeggios constantly. Like, the note on top was always delayed a little bit. It was, if I have a harpsichord sound, it was like, like that, where the top note, they were written to be the same, but they were just slightly off, and not all the time. It's just some of the time. And that's part of improvising, right? And music is supposed to sound so natural and organic, in my opinion, that it's supposed to sound organic and improvised. Even pieces that you've memorized, to me, when they sound effortless is when they sound improvised. And there's an effortless quality to someone improvising at that level. And that's what you want to go for. You don't want to feel the technicality of a piece ever. There are pieces that do that, I know, but that doesn't mean they're good pieces. Just because a piece is like technicality up here, right? You have to have this kind of technique. It doesn't mean that the music's up here. Good music could be way down here, but it's really technically difficult. So just be aware of that, right? It's that organic feel. Look at the music. Let the music talk to you. And do learn the rules, right? But realize that those rules were made after someone studied this music, right? This music, I'm looking at it here. But this music, they made those rules after studying this. So yes, there's an element in here that applies to the way you sing it, in those rules. But don't be inflexible in those rules, because those rules are really there to preserve the sound, the musicality of the piece. And that's important. So rules in kind of Catholic theology and Catholic morality, rules don't do this, do that, all those kinds of rules. They're there to safeguard goods, right? They're there to safeguard goods. There's a good musicality. And we've discovered over time that these rules help to safeguard that when you don't know what to do. So, yeah, follow those rules. But if, because vertical epizeme usually are some kind of accent or slowing down of the note. But when the music doesn't want to do that, then don't do it. Because those mean something else. Just like accents, sometimes we'll have a piece in modern music that says, play it piano, play it softly, and then you have accent marks in it. You're like, how do I play an accent quietly? Well, just like you have to figure it out. It's context. You don't just have one way of doing accents. Anyway, enough meta talk. Let's go to Quoniam suavis est, the very end of it. Quoniam suavis est, Oh, that ending. That's so beautiful. It's so tender. Mode 8, a lot of times, to me, feels very tender. All right. I want to talk about this quarter bar. This quarter bar is the fade out, where the note just fades out and then the next note comes right away, right? Do. So it's almost like the one note kind of went and it's off here, and then the other note continues where this note left off. So it almost like do, 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 like that. But then we have another note in between it that kind of lifts us up, and then the other note continues. Do, did you hear that? Yeah, that bottom note, the fa, continues on in the next note. So it's an ornament, right? Treat it like an ornament. Sing it like an ornament. It's softer. Anyway, let's do the whole thing, and we'll call that an introit. We are going long this week. Sorry. Next one, I promise I'll go real fast. Immitet Angelus Domini in circuito Timensium meum et eripi et eos gustate et videte coniam suavis est. Do, oh, and that's an offertory. That's a fantastic offertory. Beautiful. I'm so blessed to be able to sing stuff like this every Sunday. My goodness. So blessed to be able to be a guardian of the tradition of the patrimony of the church. Anyway, those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you for joining me. That was an offertory for the 14th Sunday after Pentecost, Immitet Angelus. And stay tuned for our next video. We'll be going over the communion. God bless you, and